Hey, what's up, guys? Piece of Geekish here, and I finally got the moon crew to be fixed up, and they can actually now stand up and literally just do whatever they want to walk. And I'm already like a kilometer away from there, just exploring the lunar surface. And we also planted the American flag without you guys, and that's what I want to talk about here. Recently, when I was recording for my other episode, I failed, and I'm not gonna upload the footage because I already permanently deleted because for specific reasons. Not only the episode was a little bit too long and a little bit uninterestingly boring for me, just building the rocket and then launching it, and I did 2 launches, but I thought it was a little bit slightly uninteresting, and plus I stutter a little bit on that video, so I didn't really want to show that video. I was quite nervous actually, but other than that, I want to talk about something to get this off my chest before we move on to the actual rescue objective. That's what I'm saying, rescue. I fixed the lunar mission, make these 3 Kerbals that they could stand up and all that stuff, but that's completely unimportant at the moment. Right now, I'd like to say that we have 3 Kerbals stuck in inclined lunar orbit. I'm not saying, okay, well, can't you get them down or something? No, in the last episode, not the last episode, but the last recordings, I developed another spacecraft that can, fly up into lunar orbit and eventually, just lunar orbit. It's not something that you can land with. It's just a command module. And that's where the problems start to rise. When we launched the first vehicle, everything, it exploded and everything didn't went well. But the crew lived, so I left the crew out in the recovery zone. I haven't recovered them yet, but I'm willing to, though. And the second launch is where shit really hits the fan. And it does, and these Kerbals have taken its toll. And one of the Kerbal astronauts are Neil Alden Kerman. And they're all stuck up there in low lunar orbit. Where are they? There it is. Okay. So before you guys say, wow, that's extremely low, that's an extremely low orbit, and that's the reason why I want to talk about that. Let's switch out to them. And I'd like to say, okay, well, they're in lunar orbit, they're not supposed to be lunar orbit in the first place. So, thing is that we weren't supposed to be in lunar orbit, we're supposed to be in Kerbal orbit. But then I thought, okay, well, I don't think have enough fuel for us to even, do some maneuvering inside Kerbal orbit, because I was in a little bit of a high altitude and really wanted to get back down, but I knew that, okay, well, that will take a little bit of fuel, because I was about 130,000 orbit, yeah, on each side. Everything was fine, though. So I thought, okay, well, I want to descend, because I noticed that there was a substantial weight problem in there, so... And my fuel was only about less than 1/3, way less than 1/3, because I've been doing corrections and maneuvers. And that's where I decided, okay, I made the biggest mistake ever of making these guys go towards the moon. And I was kind of inclined, because during the launch, the main engine kind of wobbled, and it destroyed integrity and made us into an inclined orbit around Kerbal, but not much, by about 4 or 5 degrees. And I didn't know that. Let's say, okay, so we're in Kerbal, okay, so obviously this is equatorial. Now if you look closely inside the Kerbal atmosphere, this is pretty much equatorial, but I was going slightly off, about 4 or 5 degrees, and I didn't know that 4 or 5 degrees can lead up to about an 80 or 85 degree inclination orbit around the moon. Literally, I made the biggest mistake ever of sending these poor guys up in the moon. And that's why I deleted all that record permanently. It was uninteresting anyway. You guys probably disliked the video and probably quit anyways. But other than that, we're gonna send a rescue mission up to send these guys back home. And that's why this is a bit of a hassle, because I've never done such rescue missions before. So we're sitting up in 6,000 kilometers of orbit. And I was just, doing a little lunar scour and thinking that we were about to hit the mountains, but we were fine. So let's check our free cam. Okay, so rotate a little bit. Okay, Okay, so obviously solar panel works, everything's fine, and that's why when I come up with the plan of having a docking shield in the first place, and we're supposed to do a little rendezvous and docking mission, but of that, before that engine explosion, and then the engine exploded and everything went wrong, so that's why I decided, okay, well, we're screwed here, what are we gonna do? So, yeah. And look at how much fuel we have. I don't think we're gonna even make it down to Kerbin with this. Not even into an acceptable orbit. That's why I want to put it this low, just for the heck of it. And I don't want these guys to be permanently stuck here. I just want these guys to at least get home safely. And if you guys look around the mission time in the MET, it's been 9 hours and 36 minutes. So you guys know how long it's been going on for. Okay, so let's try to get this thing up to sunrise, because it looks much beautiful in sunrise, but it's not going to be much sunrise. It's going to take a little while, though. It's not going to be that slow. It's actually going to be quite fast. And just watch. This is amazing. To see sunrise on your own, and there's a friggin' phone ringing in my background. I hate that. Every time that happens, I shouldn't have a phone in my freaking... Alright, so there's the sun. And obviously, we can't really see much of sunrise yet. It's gonna be when we hit... We're really supposed to hit, but we're not... It's not gonna be that bright, because our orbit's kind of almost in polar orbit, so we're pretty much gonna experience kind of like day and night in the same time. So that side's night, this side's day. So it's a bit of a view, you know. So yeah, I'm planning to send a rescue mission first to get these guys hopefully home, because these guys' wives are quite worried when we break the news to them that they are stuck up there in lunar orbit with no fuel. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the plan a little bit here. So to save these Kerbal astronauts here, this is gonna be a first failure. We're gonna get new spacecraft. We're gonna use the exact same, the same command module, but we're gonna use a different launch vehicle. So our plan is to fill up we're gonna have a new ship with an extra fuel tank on it. Instead of having RCS tank, we're gonna have someone's on that doorbell too. Are you serious? So instead of having a fuel tank, we're gonna have Alright, be right back. I'll see you guys when we get in the assembly building. We don't have much time. All right. Nick. Alright, so it's obvious now we need a new capsule or a new spacecraft that can dock with the other stranded spacecraft that's, on low lunar orbit, just, going around the moon, having some snapshots. But perhaps we also could, try to solve that problem, because I'm not going to leave those crew behind there for permanent orbit. We're going to have to bring them home, so this would be a bit of a challenge here. And they're inclinated, which means they're not, in a 0-degree equatorial orbit. Nowhere near. They're like on they're like at least at about 70 to 80 degrees in an angle. And by looking at this, a lot of things can go horribly wrong. Okay, and so basically we have to find a solution. So the command module 1.0 is the one that I made, that I had trashed out all the recordings. And basically this is what the rocket looks like. And I remember by the other episodes that I made a mistake on putting the other fuel tanks on the bottom, but these things were to explode. I don't know why. For some reason the integrity of this main tank and the other stages is horrible. I mean, like, if you think about it, there's nothing wrong with this main tank, and there's an SAS on top, which is perfectly fine, and the decoupler, and then the engine, and then all of a sudden the command module. I don't know what's wrong with this. I gotta probably the problem is going to be probably the integrity of all the spacecraft, because when we launched it, it was kind of wobbly. So perhaps we could try to fix that wobbliness by a bit of strut connecting here. So perhaps that ought to fix it, and more strut connecting. Decoupler in its engine, perhaps not. But since that's another way, we need launch stabilizers. It's already obvious that without the launch stabilizers, we're basically skewered, because these are the things that will lift us off the ground. Possibly. Only we can add 2 at a time. There we go. Sorry, I'm kind of quiet. I just came back from dinner, and that's why the whole doorbell ringing and all that in the beginning occurred. And so, don't worry. Before you guys are about to say, you forgot to put Neil back in the cabin. I did. So don't worry. So yeah, everything's looking good. The command module, there's really no problems with it. Maybe I might want to take out the heavy-duty solar panels and start using something more sensible, like the normal panels, like these normal extendable panels, or these normal stick panels. But to make things a little bit more interesting, I think I'd go with the stretchy panels. 2 of them should be enough, you know. And crossfeed is unnecessary, because crossfeed is basically all over the spacecraft. You really don't need a crossfeed duct, a fuel duct. Science experiments completely pointless with this spacecraft. There's really nothing to science about. So maybe some communication, some telecom. But these will wait quite a lot, I guess. Nah, not gonna take that risk. Not even with the bothers. So, yeah, so basically we just added some launch stabilizers, extra integrity, and make sure that... Oh, yes, one thing that we forgot. A ridiculous mistake that we made. We forgot to put separatrons out in this thing. Perhaps that would also be the reason why this thing ain't gonna detach successfully, because we all know that Sepratron gets the job done every time. So by placing them, perhaps it'll work. Yeah, sure. So basically now we put the Sepratron. We just gotta make sure that the engine integrity is fine. In the first second it was wobbly. So let's choose a crew. Jebediah, you get out of here. We only need 2 men in here. 2 men to be flying with these people. Perhaps Ed Kerman and Lars Kerman. 2 or 3, because, you know, we're gonna refuel, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. Alright, let's just take... Yeah, let's take 3 of them. And just hope that nothing goes wrong, because if something goes wrong, we're basically screwed. So let's call this the command module 2.0. Alright, so 2.0 is good. And mission flag NASA. Save this thing. And I think we're good to go. Go for launch, basically. And for a final checkup, we can also, during launch, we're gonna check out all the staging. Make sure nothing goes wrong, because if something does go wrong, I'm still gonna upload it, but it's gonna be a shameful upload. You know, everyone fails once in a while, but, you know, that was a long time ago. Nowadays, we have no respawn whatsoever, so now you can't respawn the crew. And I don't want them dead, you know, especially the others, no matter what. Right, so they're all having a jolly. So these fire. No, we don't want the Septrons to fire. We only want the Septrons to fire. And the fire. So these things fire. We want the 2 engines to fire, obviously. Not the main engine. We obviously want the 2 engines. Oh, so it's this engine that's supposed to fire. Okay, so first, engine burns first, then goes the Septron, right? So initiating countdown on 6, 5, 4, 3, hold on, 2, countdown hold, disable the top tank, and yes, hold on from 2, 1, looks like we have a staging failure, Houston. Hold on. Let's wait for that engine to blow up in our faces. Oh, well, never mind. Alright, so let's count that as a failure. Alright. Obviously, we're all gonna obviously revert the flight back from launch. Looks like I didn't think this thoroughly. Alright, well, back to the launch site. Oh my god, that was extremely close. Alright, so leaving out the engines. We want the things to fire out separately. Okay, so first. No, these fired them too. Then this go. There we go. Now it should work perfectly fine. And these fire off, and this fires. Yeah. Okay, we're done. Okay, we're good. Okay, so now back from countdown. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bless the spacecraft. Perhaps not. This spacecraft is going, and the wives are blowing kisses, and hopefully to see them again. Engines overheating. Maybe the engines overheat for health reasons of the spacecraft and decrease engine. No, not increase, decrease. We're on about 75%, I guess, yeah. Everything was good so far. Boris Kerman, you're alright. Detect, you're alright as well. You can see the horizons are good. But it's going up slowly, but I know what else. You don't want to stress the engines too much, so let's not take that risk. It's too dangerous. Our moon's position is not that bad. Right. So, basically here, gravity, right, so, trajectory is on the line, gravity turn to the right, everything's actually quite smooth now. Okay, just make sure that everything's going fine, gravity turn a little bit. Holy shit. No board, we're no-go forward. Repeat, we are no-go forward. Oh crap, be advised, we just lost our main fuel tank for no reason. Crap, I should have initiated the burn of the fuel tank in the first place. But, forget about that. Science must continue. Indeed, it must. Hence the reason why we have scientists working on this. And that's the reason why we're having such an early burn. May it be 70,000. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost running out of fuel, so I think it's time to cut the mission. Because there's no way we're going to make it to the moon and back, otherwise we're just going to put more crew's life at risk. So I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to get you back to the recovery zone. Oh, I forgot this thing initiated. Okay, well, next time let's be a little bit more careful. Let's rethink our strategy. Alright. This thing is frustrating. Why is having a first rescue mission so frustrating? Let Isaac Newton do the work for you, son. Alright, so we're descending quite fast. Okay, and, yes, it's gonna be a steep one right here. Crap. Oh, that was it? That was really it. That was fast. We kind of get the Mach. We're kind of getting the Mach, or the Mach match, or the Mach effect. Mach 1. We're kind of subsonic right now. And initiating the chutes in 1,000 meters. Should be opened any second now. Any second. Alright, there goes the parachute. Alright. The crews are definitely gonna have a story to tell. They lived to fly again. Okay, well, we have to solve this problem once and for all. Okay, revert flight back to the launch. We didn't know what we did wrong there. So here's a change of plans. Here's the plan. Okay, so first we all know what happens if we separate all the engines at once. I mean, first we separated the stage, and then all of a sudden this thing pops out of nowhere. Okay, so in order for that not to happen, I was planning so that the main engine won't fire first, but that happened earlier. So we have to fire the main engines first, and then perhaps the Separatron will do its work. Alright, so first let's get rid of all the Separatrons. Perhaps those are the problems. Three, 2, 1, launch. Alright, so lift off. Hopefully you won't shit your pants up. Just hope you don't. See, you guys are hurrying for a second try, huh? You guys are quite nervous for that. You guys are quite nervous for the third try, right? Don't worry, you're all gonna say hello to your wives again. So, perhaps the engine staging. Okay, so things looking good. But the physics time not problem as it was when I was feeling. But if you look at it from space, from orbit, you couldn't really see much. Yeah, you could actually see quite a little when you look it up from space. You're like, oh yes, you're playing multiplayer and you're seeing someone launch from the launch pad. Perhaps Kerbal Space Program needs to open up a multiplayer network that has multiple space centers around here. And we can choose the land that we can choose, and honestly, yeah, pretty much. Alright, 10,000 meters. Separate. What the hell? Alright, so it looks like something went extremely wrong. Crap. What was the problem there? I demand answers. I seriously am demanding answers. Alright, so what was the problem there? So first, let's check the analysis here. Nope, that's not... Wait. No, that's not the analysis that we're looking for. No! Sorry, there was a cut in between. Looks like that's 3 failures plus a cut. Apparently when I cut it accidentally by pressing Alt F4 again, so stupid. Things didn't really, it didn't got saved, so perhaps it's a good time to check on what's happening. Alright, so everything's good. So I was just worried if Neil was still out and EVA. He wasn't. Okay. So, everything's still not going as planned. What we know for sure, that something is unnecessary in the spacecraft. Yes, the part clipping. Let's test that out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's test out. So obviously everything is going fine. So I'm gonna do this on purpose. We're gonna blow up the engines on purpose. We're gonna see if part clipping is the problem here. Okay, so engine blows up. Yes. I mean, no, it's not part clipping. It's the space in between these two. So first, crap. I think I'm gonna kind of have to continue the second part. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy watching me fail, because this has been a very fatal mission. I've never had this much failure in a row. Of course, we're talking. So yeah, I hope you guys just enjoy watching me fail. I know we're gonna continue in part 2. This is the second part. We're gonna do something good for sure. Right, so yeah. So yeah, we're gonna try to help as much as we can for part 2. Right, so yeah. If this episode's a little uninteresting, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get these crew home, and in part 2, we're gonna do some good. Hell yeah.